Page 741. Page 742. Page 743. Page 744. Page 745. Page 746. Page 747. Page 748. Page 749. Page 750. Page 751. Page 752. Page 753. Page 754. Page 755. Page 756. Page 757. Page 758. That must be Wadada coming. Page 759. Page 760. Page 761. Page 762. That must be Wadada coming. Page 763. No, Senator Wadada, take your seat, no problem. I was just recognizing that you're on your way. Page 764. Page 765. OGD, Otumba, Dismissed Senator Otumba Benga Daniels.
Thank you, President. I'm Otumba Engineer Benga Daniel, representing Ogun East Senatorial District. I wish to move a motion of adoption for the vote of and proceedings of Tuesday, 19th of March, 2024. I so move.
The Civil Senator Akobundu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Austin Akobundu, Abia Central Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion for the adoption of the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 19th March 2024, ably moved by Senator Benga Daniels. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do approve the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, the 19th day of March 2024. Those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Your mic is on.
Distinguished colleagues, Senator Olameleke, take your seat. Correspondence from Mr. President. The distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, 19 March. Senate President, distinguished Senate President, transmission of the judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc., Bill 2024. In accordance with the provisions of Section 58, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I forward herewith the judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc. Bill 2024 for the kind constitution of the Senate. The judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc. Bill 2024 seeks to prescribe salaries, allowances, and fringe benefits for judicial officers to end the prolonged stagnation in their remuneration and to reflect contemporary socio-economic realities. The bill, which establishes a new legal framework for the remuneration of judicial officers, will also ensure significant improvement in the welfare, capacity, and independence of the judiciary. Whilst I hope that the judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc. Bill 2024 will be carefully yet expeditiously considered and passed by the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest esteem. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So this should be jointly handled by the committees on judiciary, human rights, and legal. Senator Mangunu, this is referred to your committee. Committee on judiciary, human rights, and legal matters, in collaboration with the Senate Committee on Finance, to revert to the Senate within 2 weeks.
As the Senate President pleases.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, National Assembly Complex. Distinguished Senate President, transmission of Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 and Supplementary Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration. Transmission of Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 and Supplementary Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration. Pursuant to provisions of Section 58, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, I forward herewith the Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 for the kind consideration of the Senate. The Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 seeks to amend the Appropriation Act 2023 to further extend the time for implementing the capital expenditures of the Appropriation Act of 2023 from 31st day of March 2024 to 30th day of June 2024, while the Supplementary Appropriation Amendment Bill 2024 seeks to amend the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend its implementation from 31st day of March 2024 to 30th day of June 2024. These extensions are necessary to ensure that the provisions of the acts are exhaustively implemented. While looking forward to the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Chairman Appropriation, two requests here. First, I must commend the Senate for taking proactive steps to extend the capital components of the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act to the same 30th of June. Now you have another request to extend the entirety of the amendments plus the 2023 Act itself to 30th of June. The implication of the letter is that we did amend only the extension of capital expenditure. But the second request is asking for the extension of the entirety, which means it will include recurrent as well as capital to the same 30th of June. So the Senate leader, I will call on you to know what to do, but for now, pending your explanation, this is referred to the committee or the committees on appropriation and finance. Okay, just a slight correction. will be handled by the Committee of the Whole for expeditious consideration. Yes, Senate Leader.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues. Quickly, in response to the issue raised by Mr. President, sir, I also join in commending our colleagues for being proactive because this issue was dealt with yesterday. However, there is an additional dimension to it. What we looked into yesterday was to how, in overriding national interests, how to extend the capital implementation of the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act, or Supplementary Budget, as it were, which was done. However, in view of this letter that just came, now seeking two things. One, the extension of the capital implementation of the entire 2023 Appropriation Act from March 31st to June 30th, as well as the extension of the entire supplementary budget of 2023 from March 31st to 30th June. It then means that procedurally there will be need for us to bring a bill which the Secretariat will quickly work on, and then we'll have a supplementary order paper to be able to take care of this. And at some point during these proceedings today, we'll need to, through a committee of the whole, consider that via a bill. And of course, if necessary, the application of the doctrine of necessity that Senator Mongunu canvassed for so much yesterday. I thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, the Senate Leader, thank you for your explanation. I'm surprised that when Senator Mongunu, a former chief whip and a legal icon and an experienced legislator, tried to propound the theory of doctrine of necessity. It was the view of the Senate that we should concentrate only on extension of the capital component. We should leave out the recurrent component. But now with this letter and coming as an executive amendment, everything is attached. So I think we must go back to Senator Mongunu and do the needful. So, but first, for the proactive way in which the Senate took the steps without even waiting for the executive, I think we must commend ourselves because we have the interests of the nation at heart and we're looking ahead, particularly to ensure that we did not stultify the procedures that it will take to ensure implementation of the capital components of the 2023 appropriation. Of course, I said I learned something in the 8th Senate, that there is a difference between approval and release. So you can have approval and you don't have release, and that can delay implementation of the budgets. But in this case now, sometimes the procedure of going through the public procurement could even also delay. So it was good that we did what we did, but we have to now do it holistically. So, Senator Ndume.
Mohamed Ali Ndume, representing Borno South. Mr. President, the clerk is here, is supposed to advise properly. What we're trying to do now, I think it's better we do it where we will not have some kind of constitutional complications. This is a supplementary bill. It can as well be the same document as 2024 Supplementary Act, so that it can be fully up. But what I begin to think is it legal constitutionally to run several budgets at the same time? So this supplementary, we can, the Senate leader can present it as a bill in 2024, and it should bear that. It's 2024.
Yes, the Deputy Senate President.
Mr. President, my name is Baro Ajibrin, Kaduna North. Mr. President, we are concerned that at all time we should do things according to procedure. Defend our government. We are the ruling party. The president is ours. We must defend him by doing what is normal, what is in line with the procedure and practice of the legislature. The letter sent by Mr. President has solved our problem. It has solved our problem. What we need to do now is to reenact that expired bill, act, just as said by Senator Ndumi. Is of course, because we can't do it here, because it's stated in the Constitution that any appropriation bill or supplementary appropriation bill must be submitted to the National Assembly before we act on it. Other bills can emanate from here, but not appropriation, not money bill, not appropriation bill. It must emanate from the presidency, and he has done so through this letter. So now what we need to do is to reenact the bill because it has expired. But Mr. President has done what he's supposed to do. He has followed the procedure. The whole problem is solved. We have no problem any longer. Now we are going to enact and then pass it. Bring a bill, bring up that expired bill. Act, it has expired. Now the letter is just like a bill. So we now reenact and then we move on.
Yes, I must say that even what is the bill that is attached is 2024. So it's already 2024 is reenacting 2023. That's what it is. So it's a bill of 2024, but reinventing 2023 bill up to 30th of June, because even from the letter it had expired. So we're in line. And your explanation is noted as a former chairman of appropriation, both in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And so well guided. Yes, distinguished Senator, former Accountant General of the Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just rise to observe that, like what Ndume said, we should not do something that will be in conflict with the Constitution. The Constitution, in a particular section I don't have here, requires that the Auditor General...
Read the section.
I don't have one here. But let me guide you.
Give him the Constitution, let him read the section. When you, I mean, this is...
I said I don't have the Constitution.
I said we should give it to you now.
Okay.
Whatever, approach the chair. No. Have you seen it? Okay, please go ahead.
The Auditor General shall, within 90 days of receipt of the Accountant General's financial statement, submit his report under this section to each of the National Assembly and each house of the National Assembly, and each house shall cause the report to be considered by a committee of the House of National Assembly responsible for public accounts. So, the Accountant General within 90 days shall prepare account, which is March, and within 90 days shall submit, for which the Auditor General is supposed to prepare his account. So, which essentially means by June, the account of the preceding year would have been audited, and be reviewed by the Public Accounts Committee. That's number one observation. So if you extend it to March, you still allow the 90 days and you will meet the constitutional requirement. If you extend it to June, that means you will not submit the account until September, which contravenes the provision of the Constitution. 2, you cannot extend recurrent. You can't, because you have already closed the books of account and provided for opening balance. That is why you have an opening balance. In the appropriation law, you cannot say, I am paying salary, or I will still pay salary of January and another January in the following year, because you have another January in 2024. If you have earned the salary in 2023, you carry it to the debt. That's why you provided for debt, because it's already earned. So, we can go about it not necessarily in providing like this.
Thank you. Are you saying that if the Parliament makes an act to cover any situation that yes?
Mr. President, let me draw his attention to section 81 of the Constitution. 81, 81.1 and 81B, 3.4B. And it says clearly, the President shall cause to be prepared and laid before each House of the National Assembly at any time in each financial year estimate of the revenue and expenditure of the Federation for the next following financial year. Then, 4B, a need that is supplementary. This will refer to the main annual appropriation bill. Then B, a need has arisen for expenditure for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by the Act. So this refers to supplementary appropriation bill. Now, what we are talking now is not an extension of that recurrent expenditure that I was talking about, a recurrent side of the budget. It's a reenactment. It's a new bill in its entirety. Okay, well, I think I have seen it. So a supplementary, okay, that B, in continuation, a supplementary estimate showing the sums required shall be laid before each House of the National Assembly, and the heads of such expenditure shall be included in a supplementary appropriation bill. So this is what we are doing now. This is what the President wants us to do. So we are not extending. That issue of extension has been closed. We are talking about reenactment. So nothing is wrong here, my distinguished brother. We are guided by the Constitution. The President is guided by the Constitution. A need has arisen because money has not been spent to fund our armed forces, for their recurrent expenditures and so on and so forth. So we are now reenacting something that was kept and was not utilized, and is going to be utilized now for the operation of our armed forces and others, parts of our government. So it's a reenactment, it's a new bill in its entirety, and that's what we are going to present now. It's not an extension in respect of the current aspect of the budget so discussed. I so submit, Mr. President.
Well, so what you are saying in essence is that where money was not available in totality to cater for maybe the emoluments or backlog of earned emoluments of maybe civil servants, personnel of the armed forces, wherever, now that the money is available, because the money fell under recurrent, and the 2023 recurrent had lapsed, that the president is right in going to the Constitution to seek for an appropriation, a realignment or an appropriation to cater for whatever was not spent in 2023. So it will still be a 2024 appropriation, but referring to the content of 2023 for immediate implementation, but ending 30th of June. I think it is within the right of Parliament. Yes, distinguished Senator Garuba, you have something to say?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this opportunity. Distinguished colleagues, the debate for reenactment I can understand, but the debate for recurrence I can't understand, because everything that was earned was accrued in 2024 budget. There is no way what we have accrued in 2024 budget, it was already earned and it was brought forward to 2024. For us now to reenact it, I think there is a counting misnomer here. I so submit. Thank you. It's not about, we have to follow the process of standing accounting process. Yeah, I understand what the law says, but accounting process, we have accrued everything that was earned recurrent in 2024. In, the one that was done in 2023, it was carried forward to 2024. So for you now to say we should again, I think there is a misnomer. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, but I think you can treat it as a 2024 supplementary. You know, there's no problem with that. Treat it as 2024 supplementary. The only thing is that we are capturing the unspent expenditure of 2023. I think that's the way it will go. So treat it as Appropriation Act of 2024 supplementary, which captures the unspent Act of 2024. Yeah, he has agreed with me. So he's saying that you can you will take it as a supplementary act of 2024, but it captures the unexpensed aspect of 2023. What is your opinion? Because it's still the same thing, but it definitely an announcement of Parliament to capture it.
Well, when we say reenactment, we didn't mean that that's how it's going to be written on the bill. Of course, it's going to be written 2024, not just like the way Mr. President addressed it. It's just for the purpose of emphasis, for us to understand. No, we are going that route. We are going the route we are talking about. The route we are talking about is what is going to be on the bill. On the bill. Sure, exactly. That's what's going to be on the bill. That's what is going to be on the bill. We just said it, excuse me. We said that we are talking about it and for us to understand what we are going to do. But what is going to be on the bill is what he said. That's what is going to be on the bill. Ab initio, that's what we have even decided here. We even talked about here.
Yeah, this is Senator Dixon. I didn't know you to be an accountant, but go on.
We're a little bit of several things here, all of us. I think that there's no doubt that the president can send an appropriation bill as at any time. And he can even send as many supplementary as it becomes necessary to meet the national challenges he is dealing with. So I think it's going to be tidier if all those elements that have not been exhausted, we reenact them as a 2024 enactment, supplementary enactment, and we move forward. And I so submit. Thank you.
Well guided, well guided. That is why lawyers know almost everything. Thank you. Any petitions? Any petitions? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Osita Ngwu, Enugu West. Mr. President, the petition is from a business owner from my constituency. It's regarding, his name is Ron Ofodile, a disagreement with EEDC and an irreconcilable difference on the billing system in his business. This constituent is actually an employer of labor with about 300 employees in his business, and the business is threatened and at the verge of collapse. He has tried his best, and he has confidence that this Senate will be able to step in and ensure that the differences between him, his business, and EEDC is resolved so that his business can continue to move. With your kind permission, Mr. President, I may lay the petition on the table. Thank you.
Please proceed to lay. Petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Senator Sharafadin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I come under Order 41 of the Senate Rules 2023 as amended.
Yeah, go ahead.
And with the kind permission of Mr. President, may I, sir?
No, you know, sorry, Senator Sharafadin, you had a motion yesterday, which was, which the Senate agreed that you should take today. So it's not a problem. I believe, is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to continue with the motion he brought yesterday? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Go ahead and move your motion, please.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this motion is brought urging the Senate to pay tribute to the late Oba Dr. Mahood Lekan Balogun, the Olubadan of the land, and a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate notes that the Yoruba race and Nigerians woke up on early morning of the 15th day of March 2024 to the sad news of the passing of Oba Dr. Mahood Lekan Balogun, the 42nd Olubadan of the land, a revered monarch and a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Further notes that Oba Dr. Mahood Lekan Balogun was not only a custodian of Yoruba culture and tradition, but also a statesman who served his people with distinction, both as a traditional ruler and as a legislator in the Senate from 1999 to 2003. Be aware, sirs, that the late Olubadan was an accomplished academic, administrator, editor, activist, writer, and publisher, as well as a successful politician whose contributions to the development of our country, particularly in the area of community development, peace building, and cultural preservation, are immeasurable. Accordingly resolves to 1, mourn the passing of Oba Dr. Maud Lekan Balogun and expresses heartfelt condolences to the family, chiefs, Ibadan people, and Yoruba race and Nigerians. 2, urge the Senate to observe a minute silence to pay our respects in recognition of his exceptional and patriotic service to the country. 3, I further urge the Senate to immortalize Oba Dr. Maud Lekan Balogun's contributions to our nation by naming one of our committee rooms in the Senate to immortalize its legacy. I'm sorry. And 4, urge the Senate to dispatch a high-powered delegation to visit and commiserate with the late monarch's royal family, chiefs, and the people of Ibadan, while also extend a visit to the incoming Olubadan, High Chief Owolabi Olakuleyin, who is also a former member of the House of Representatives, and also to the governor of Oyo State. Mr. President, the passing of Oba Dr. Maud Lekan Balogun is a loss not only to the people of Ibadan and the Yoruba nation, but to the entire country. His wisdom, leadership, commitment to the welfare of the people will be sorely missed. I therefore urge my distinguished colleagues to support this motion as a fitting tribute to a truly remarkable leader and statesman. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Yunus.
Mr. President, sir, I remain Yunus Biodun Akintunde, Senator representing Oyo Central. I wish to second the motion as moved by Senator Sharafaddin Ali, Oyo South, as well comment on the death of the referred late Olubadan, Oba Dr. Maud Lekan Balogun. Mr. President, sir, it's on record that the late Olubadan of Ibadan land represented my senatorial district, Oyo Central, at this red chamber between 1999 and 2003. It's good to remember that I even served as his chairman of the poster committee then in 1999. Yeah, I was the chairman of the poster committee in 1999 for the late Olubadan of Ibadan land. And today, I'm here representing the same senatorial district the late Olubadan represented within 1999 and 2003. Late Dr. Lekan Balogun is known as an erudite scholar, a political juggernaut, a family man, highly respected man, and to all of us, he was a father like none. Seconding this motion, I wish and pray that the Senate will join us to mourn the late Olubadan of Ibadan, Oba Dr. Maud Lekan Balogun, and I also urge my colleagues to support the motion as moved by Senator Sharafaddin Ali. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Abdul Fattah.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in addition to what my two brothers said, one cannot forget Senator Balogun Ingaru. Mr. President, he was an epitome. Apart from being a radical activist, that's one of the reasons why in 1999 when he came back from the United Kingdom, when everybody was rushing to contest election in the known party, he contested under PRP because he was very close to Aminu Kano. And from there, he was lecturing at Ahmadu Bello University. Mr. President, apart from being a very good politician, he was a great writer. Some of the books, a portrait of an activist. To serve is to lead. People must decide. And one of his greatest books that's up to today, that is rampaging in the market, is Arrogance of Power. I remember very well when he was leaving the Senate in 2003 was the time we won an election to come to the National Assembly. And I went to him to receive prayer. Mr. President, after I finished with him, and I said, he want to give me a gift. He brought out that book, Arrogance of Power. He said, you will need it. You will need it. You will need it. Mr. President, I must confess to you, that book is one of the few things that shaped my life. Because he said that day that you are going to Abuja, you are going to the National Assembly, you meet all sorts of people. Don't allow that position to carry you away. Just make sure at any point in time, you go back to your constituency. Probably his early life was one of the few things that influenced his life, why he became tougher. Self-sponsored to UK for O-level, A-level, first degree, master's, and PhD is something he was able to achieve for himself. No wonder in 1999, when he contested the election to become a senator, he won. He has left a very big mark in our state and in your state, in Nigeria in general. Mr. President, I pray to God Almighty to forgive his shortcoming and may he rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Amen. Distinguished Senator Abamoro.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Abamoro. Mr. President, it's a rare privilege for me to pay this tribute to an epitome of peace and a progressive traditional ruler. Mr. President, what has particularly appealed to me about the late Olubadan is the fact that as a traditional ruler, one would have expected that he's an arch-conservative, but not Olubadan, Lekon Balogun. While in the Senate, from the records available, he demonstrated progressive leadership. He stood for the common person, and even as a traditional ruler, the Olubadan of Ibadan, the ancient city, and the custodian of the tradition of the Ibadan people, he exhumed humility, responsibility, and he made sure that Ibadan retained its pedigree as the seat of tradition. Mr. President, I was privileged by my association to his brother, Senator Kola Balogun, and attended his coronation. And everything that I learned and read about him came to the fore when we visited him after his coronation. Mr. President, I think the Ibadan people, and indeed Nigeria, has lost a very great leader. Like my colleagues are saying, we just pray that God Almighty will grant him merciful judgment and a place in his kingdom for eternal rest. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, having heard from the minority leader, I believe that the Senate in totality mourns the demise of this great traditional father, Mohud Lekon Balogun, the Olubadan of Ibadan land. It's not how long you reign, but the impact you have made. And like he said, of all his ingenious publications, the one that appeals to Abdul Fattah is the one that says the arrogance of power. Please try and make the publication available to our colleagues. It's important so that it will continue to guide all of us as we move in the service of our nation, so that we can do so with humility, like the late icon taught us even in his writing, and it will also help the youths of the country. So let's go straight into the prayers. Prayer 1, mourn the passing of Oba Dr. Mohud Lekon Balogun, the Olubadan of Ibadan, and express heartfelt condolences to the family, the chiefs, Ibadan people, the Yoruba race, and Nigeria as a whole. Those who support our prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Senate to observe a minute silence to pay respect in recognition of his exceptional and patriotic service to our fatherland. Those who support our prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, further urge the Senate to immortalize Dr. Mahmoud Lekon Balogun's contributions to our nation by naming a committee room in the Senate to immortalize him, to immortalize his legacy. Those who support our prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, urge the Senate to dispatch a high-powered delegation to visit and commiserate with the late monarch's royal family, the chiefs, and the good people of Ibadan land, while also extending a visit to the incoming Olubadan High Chief Owolabi Olakunehin, who is also a former member of the House of Representatives, and also visit the governor of Oyo State. Those in favor of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank distinguished Senator Sharafaddin Abiodun Ali for bringing this motion, and he brought it yesterday, and we felt it would not be nice for him to take it under his matter of under Order 42, personal explanation, that he should bring it so that those of us in the Senate and the entirety of the Senate should join to pay respect to this great icon who has served his fatherland, and it has pleased God to call him to paradise. And together we are saying, may his soul rest in peace, and may God accept him in paradise. Amen. Can we now rise to observe a minute silence in his honor? May the soul of Oba Dr. Mohud Lekon Balogun, the Olubadan of Ibadan, rest in perfect peace. Leader of the Senate. I'm still mourning.
Mr. President, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Oyewumi Kamarudin Olalere on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024 SB 400. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024, SB 400, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024 SB 400, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti on the Gender and Equitable Opportunities Bill 2024 SB 401. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Gender and Equitable Opportunities Bill 2024, SB 401, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Gender and Equitable Opportunities Bill 2024, SB 401, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Yar'Adua Abdul Aziz Musa on the nationwide toll bill 2024 SB 402. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nationwide Toll Bill 2024, SB 402, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nationwide Toll Bill 2024, SB 402, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Barau Jibrin on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024 SB 402. Mr. President, you may wait to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024, SB 403, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill, SB 403, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator most distinguished Senator Jibril Issa Echocho on the Federal College of Agriculture, Ocheja, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 404. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal College of Agriculture, Ocheja, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 404, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal College of Agriculture, Ocheja, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 404, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, walking our talk with respect to the promise made to one of our colleagues yesterday, her motion having been stepped down consecutively for 6 legislative days because we had to take on other matters that we consider to be more urgent. May I most respectfully seek your indulgence to announce as the first order of the day what would have been the 8th order of the day, which is a motion standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti on the compelling need to tackle the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Idiat.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move the motion on the compelling need to tackle the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria. The Senate knows that the issue of out-of-school children has become worrisome, given the 2022 report of the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that about 20 million Nigerian children are out of school, which represent 10% of the estimated Nigerian population of 200 million people, and also represent the highest number of out-of-school children from any country globally. Also note that though the Minister of Education disputed the figure, but it is generally agreed that whatever the real figures, the issue of out-of-school children has become an albatross on the neck of the Nigerian state that must be dealt with a matter of urgency. Further note that the social impacts of having about 20 million out-of-school children on the Nigerian state will include impediment to achieving some of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goal 4, which is to ensure inclusiveness and equitable quality of education and promotion of lifelong learning opportunities for all. Also providing easy pull for recruitment into criminal gang, banditry and terrorism, which are the biggest security issues in the Nigerian state, we have been dealing with for many years. Achievement of national economic justice and inclusiveness will further be jeopardized, and many more Nigerians may become ill-equipped to climb out of the poverty bracket, and other social problems that might arise from this condition are gender inequality, early child marriage, general social political instability. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, you will be aware that the past successful administration has made several efforts to deal with the out-of-school children, and last being the deployment of homegrown school feeding program by the last administration, with other programs by development partners like the World Bank sponsored Better Education Service Delivery for All program. However, all these efforts have had little impact on the surging numbers of out-of-school children, and we therefore need new thinking and more aggressive strategy to deal with this menace. convinced that when all the institutions concerned are committed to their responsibilities, the menace of out-of-school children will be overcome because the situation is of concern to the federal government of Nigeria. Accordingly, resolved to mandate the Committee on Education, both the basic and the secondary, to engage the Federal Ministry of Education with a view to paying special attention to the issue of out-of-school children with the ultimate objective of drastically reducing the number. Urged Ministry of Education is related parastatals and agencies such as Universal Basic Education stakeholders, including non-governmental organizations, to one, severally and jointly bring up new strategy to effectively deal with out-of-school children problem, as well as rekindle the national consciousness through sensitization and advocacy on the importance of education to the growth and development of our nation and the benefits of having majority educated population. B, set a time limit of 2 years for the diligent implementation of the UB Act as stipulated in Section 2 and Section 2, subsection 2. 1, urge government at all levels, thirdly, urge government at all levels to implement targeted intervention programs that will address all the factors militating against free access to quality and basic education, particularly multidimensional poverty and insecurity. Equally urge the judiciary in the 36th state of the Federation to take steps towards setting up mobile court for the enforcement of the UBEC Act. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so submit.
Yes, distinguished Senator Mangoro.
Mr. President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, why I decided to contribute to this motion is against the backdrop of my experience in life while growing up. Mr. President, distinguished senators, it may interest you to know that while I was at primary 7, out of my own volition, I decided to drop out of school. And the reason why I dropped out of school was in my community, then the vogue is to be a driver. Because once you are a driver, you are the talk of town and the elites in my community. When we go for festivities, there is a festivity in my community whereby boys and girls will line off, and then girls will come and invite you to dance together with them. So when we line up together, girls will only come and invite drivers to dance with them. They will not invite those of us that are not drivers. I now said, okay, if that is the case, let me also go and be a driver, so that when we line up for festivities, girls will also come and invite me to dance with them. So because of that, Mr. President, I dropped out of school. But because of the persistence and the insistence of my late uncle, with whom I grew up with, of blessed memory, I finished my secondary school, my primary school, went to secondary school, went to university, went to law school, called to the bar, became Attorney General, 5 times member of the House of Representatives, and now a distinguished senator. So I'm reeling out this my experience in life of nearly dropping out of school. And those that at that period in time dropped out of school and became drivers, today the difference is clear. In fact, it was not more than 3 months ago when I had to buy gold cars to some that have become drivers in order to support them, my classmates in secondary school. So education is the veritable tonic and panacea that any society can use with a view to not only lifting people out of poverty, but also a veritable tonic that a society can use with a view to achieving its developmental objectives. Any society that neglects or relegates education to the background does so at the risk of its own peril. So against this backdrop, Mr. President, distinguished senators, this motion is very, very important, especially against the backdrop of the 20 million children that are out of school in Nigeria. All hands must be on deck by all stakeholders to ensure that our children go to school, so that bandits and Boko Haram will not have a veritable or a fertile ground to recruit these people into their dastardly act. Against the backdrop, Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ahmed Lawan. I represent Yobe North. Mr. President, I dare say that this is one of the most important motions we are considering in this session. The issue of out-of-school children is both a social as well as a serious security problem to us. And I want to say that we have more than 20 million out-of-school children, more than 20. Because the 20 million we're talking about are possibly only in the basic education. That is the primary school and JSS. What about those who have finished JSS 3 and are not able to go to SS1? We may be talking about 30 million out of school. And that is a huge population from amongst the school-going age of our population. So it's a major issue for development, for security of our country. Mr. President, I think I want your attention, please. Mr. President, this is one issue that the states and the federal government of Nigeria would have to sit and deal with it decisively until we are able to have our youth properly educated, prepared for tomorrow, both for leadership and productivity. Growth and development may be eluding us. Mr. President, just like my brother Senator M.T. Monguno said, you have a critical mass of people to recruit from for insurgency, for banditry, and so on and so forth. It's just like those who have no jobs. But here we have a population, a sizable number of our youth or school-going age who are not able to go to schools. And I believe that we must do everything and anything possible to deal with this issue, because it will continue to militate against our development, and it will continue to provide the pipe
the kind of support for the insecurity we suffer from. The insurgency in the Northeast, for example, many who were part and parcel of the insurgency were people who are not going to school. And I believe that if we do invest properly, we could harness the best for our country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Adams Oshimole.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I associate myself with all the comments that have been made. And I really don't think we need any tutorial to remind us that he or she who didn't have the opportunity or who was denied, more appropriately, the opportunity to go to school is destined to be poor forever. An illiterate young man or woman is bound to give birth to another illiterate child, which will lead to a dynasty of the poor, constitute a risk to the rich. As far back as 1919, the world was unanimous that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. Today in Nigeria, we can see, and we are witnesses, that inequality and abject poverty anywhere in Nigeria has constituted a huge security risk to everyone in Nigeria. What I want to propose we do differently is that this country is clear that every Nigerian child needs to go to school, which is what informs the universal basic education, under which the federal government subsidizes state government to the tune of 50%. Your Excellency, Mr. President, as governor of Akwa Ibom State, I am sure you spend a lot of Akwa Ibom resources to attract federal matching grant to ensure that the children in Akwa Ibom went not only to primary school, to secondary school, but to complete their basic education and even up to secondary school full level. Together, sir, we had the opportunity to be in council where some governors lament that they don't have the money even to attract the 50% subsidy that the federal government provides under the Universal Basic Education Law. What I suggest we do is that when we lament generally, we lump the good, the bad, and the ugly together. That way, no one is ashamed. I suggest, sir, that we urge the appropriate agency or department to publish, as I know they used to do, but this time to make it in newspapers, state by state, including FCT, the percentage of out-of-school children. So we can see the governors and the states that are more guilty of this huge negligence and thereby risking all of us, and those states that have taken appropriate steps to deal with the issue of out-of-school children. It is not an act of God. It is misplacement of priorities by appropriate agencies. And there's nothing we can do with mere words. When we publish, for example, that Akwa Ibom out-of-school children is about 5-6%, and we publish that another state within the same sub-region is about 15%, or you publish, in the case of Edo, by the time I left government, it was about 7%. My envy was that of Ondo State or Ekiti, that was about 5%. At that same time, I know of states that had as much as 50% out-of-school population. And my argument then, which is the argument I will make now, it cannot be the truth that every governor can afford to buy the same bulletproof car. We can afford the same state-of-the-art government house, but we cannot afford to pay 50% subsidy to ensure that the child of the poor go to school. The bandits of today were the beggars of yesterday. Alaiba kakabamu. Ayazu alayabasu bakubamu ba. Our people pray for us. Even when I go home, they say to me, may God bless you so that you may join my blessings.
We need to.
Yeah.
Yes. We need to.
where it is medium, and where it is manageable. That way, the states involved in this gross negligence of the children of the poor will be exposed and will be able to offer public apology. And then the federal government can now devise ways and means to ensure that in releasing money, because what I've learned as a small manager, that throwing money at the poor is not solving. If the intention of the person who has the money is not to address the problem, books will show that money has been spent, but the reality of the ground will show you different. To have this experience, Mr. President, may because of your leadership here, encourage us and energize us to engage all those who are responsible. Because thank you very much for the movement of this motion. I thank all those who have contributed. And I am totally committed to anything we can do to expose those who are risking the collective of the poor.
Thank you. Dismissed Senator Lalong.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Simon Lalong from Plateau South. Your Excellency, I rise to also support this bill, and I support it with a lot of passion. Everything has been said about education. There is no alternative when you want to have a progressive nation. But I will make quick examples. Distinguished Senator Shomole said, there is already statistics. If people say they don't know about the statistics, if you go to World Bank, they will tell you. The states that are backward, the states that are deliberately enjoying that kind of, I wouldn't say privilege, when you refuse to educate your people. In the North, I just left as the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum. We were privileged to have something called the Agile Project, and this is a World Bank project. If you go through, it's for the out of school, especially the female ones. The concept there is very beautiful, and I want to recommend, we should not be waiting for the World Bank. If we have this kind of concept done by the World Bank, let us practice it everywhere in Nigeria. We cannot leave anybody outside who is not educated. Today, I remember in secondary school, there was this concept of nomadic education. When it was introduced, I remember the first person that championed it was the wife of my governor then, Mrs. Lar, the wife of former governor of Plateau State, Solomon Lar. That concept would have saved what we are seeing today as banditry. But along the line, a lot of politics came up, and it was disbanded. The nomadic education was to have the privilege of educating the man who is in the bush grazing cows, so that at the end of the day he will also appreciate the level, the advantage of education. Now a lot of them, and I'm sure those of us who will know the reasons, part of the reasons for banditry, will tell you that they are not educated. They don't have anything to do. Once their cows are taken away, they now engage in banditry. Engage in banditry. So I also support this bill with all the things that are recommended, so that as quickly as possible, in the next 4 or 5 years, as he said, we may not only end up by passing the bill, but we'll continue to reassess this bill and bring it out to know which states are doing well and which states are not doing well.
Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Barrow Jibrin North. Mr. President, permit me to commend the mover of this motion. She is a mother, a former deputy governor, so she knows the problem very well. And bringing it forward at this point is a big service to our nation. Mr. President, education is said to be the bedrock of every society. is a pillar upon which every human being begin his life or their life. It is something that is very, very important. It's sine qua non to having a good life. An uneducated person does not hear and does not see. Why? Because he can't separate the right from the left. Now, we have a problem in this country. Even though the problem is more pronounced in some states than others. Of course, the states of Yobe, Borno, Kano, Katsina, and of course, Kaduna, and so many of the states in the northern part of Nigeria are the ones that are really facing this big national calamity. What do we need to do? What we need to do is to collectively put our efforts together to find solution to this menace. Because when we fail to educate our children to become engineers, doctors, nurses, traders, business people, and what have you, what we are preparing them to do instead is to become bandits, kidnappers, armed robbers, and name them. Name all the vices you can think of, they will find solace there. Therefore, we need to collectively, at the local level, individual level, the local government, the state government, the federal government, high net worth individuals, corporate bodies, all we need to come collectively together to make sure we find lasting solution to this problem. And of course, there are issues to do with those who bear children and do not try to find a way of taking care of them, catering for them. You make sure that whoever, at any point in time, your children should be catered for. You should plan for them, think of the ways to educate them, and make sure you look after them properly as prescribed by God. Thank God we are people of faith in this country, Muslim and Christians, and in all these two main religions, it's prescribed that you must take care of your child. Your child is like someone that God has given to you to hold on his behalf. Therefore, his shelter, his clothing, his education, his well-being, his total well-being rests on you. Leaving your child without taking care of him is something that is not condoned by our two religions. Therefore, at individual level, we must preach this down to our parents, all the parents in Nigeria. Take care of a child before we move to the authorities. The authorities, of course, it has been emphasized in several fora, in several conferences, in several meetings, that we should do all within our powers to make sure we surmount this national calamity. It is a calamity because most kingpins in armed robbery, in kidnapping, in banditry, pick up these kids that are not educated and use them to do whatever they want to do against the state. So I align myself with the previous speakers that we should find a way to surmount this national calamity. I say so, Mr. President.
Let me join all the speakers to commend the Distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oloranti of Lagos West for bringing this all-important bill to the Senate. I also want to align myself with the submissions of Senator Mongunu and all the speakers that yes, indeed, a lot of opportunities would have been given to many Nigerian children in the past if attention had been paid by the various governments, local government, state government, and federal government in those days to the menace of out-of-school children. Very few managed to survive, and a lot of them could not make it. So I thank you for this motion. So we go straight into the prayers. This is very important. Like you said, it touches on the United Nations goal number 4, which is to ensure inclusiveness and equitable quality of education, promotion of long life learning and opportunities for all. So let's look at the prayers, whether they are far-reaching enough. Prayer 1, mandate the Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary, to engage the Federal Ministry of Education with a view to paying special attention to the issue of out-of-school children with the ultimate objective of drastically reducing the number. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Ministry of Education, its related parastatals and agencies such as the Universal Basic Education stakeholders, including non-governmental organizations, to severally and jointly bring up new strategy to effectively deal with out-of-school children problems, as well as rekindle the national consciousness through sensitization and advocacy on the importance of education to the overall growth of our dear country and the benefits of having majority population highly educated. B, set a time limit of 2 years for a diligent implementation of the UBE Act as stipulated in Section 2, subsection 2. Urge those in support of prayer 2, A and B, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge governments at all levels to implement targeted intervention programs that will address all the factors militating against free access to quality and basic education, particularly multi-dimensional poverty and insecurity. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, equally urge the judiciary in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT to take steps towards setting up mobile courts for the enforcement of the UBE Act. I believe those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me just, by way of information, mention that the most important thing is that they should sign the child rights law in various states, insisting that education, basic education is compulsory. And then where parents or guardians infringe on the law, then there should be punishment. So for this, I would suggest that you take a cue from what I did when I was governor of Akwa Ibom State. I signed the child rights bill into law and I enshrined a provision of 6 months imprisonment for any guardian or parents that allows a child of school age to roam around the streets, go into hawking or any other venture during school hours. And that way we had enforcers. We had special assistants to the governor on education monitoring, and they went around the state to search from local government to make sure that no child was left behind and no child was in a farm or was on the street or was selling newspapers during school hours. It was quite effective. And then we declared free and compulsory education in the state for all children of school ages. from primary school to senior secondary school and opening it up to all Nigerian children who were residents in Akwa Ibom State for 8 years. It was phenomenal, and it was quite successful. We received commendations everywhere, so I recommend this to many states of the Federation in order to curb this menace of out-of-school children. I also commend the federal government for introducing the 1 meal a day program, because sometimes some of the children out of hunger will not be able to go to school, but because the meal that is given to them in schools also is something that will attract them. So we must commend the federal government and urge that program should continue. It will also assist in reducing the number of out-of-school children. But it's a menace that must be jointly tackled. The parents, the guardians, the local governments, the states, and at the federal level. So I commend you for this motion, and I plead that the Senate Committee on Legislative Compliance should look into how these resolutions are implemented. Thank you, distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oloranti, and all those who have made contributions to this motion. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, first I stand. Mr. President, distinguished senators, first I stand pursuant to Order 8 of 3 of our rules to move for extension of time to enable us sit beyond 2 p.m. to take care of the items we have on the order paper. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that we extend time in order to be able to complete the items on the order paper. I say second.
Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The time is hereby extended. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the second order of the day is the presentation and adoption of the Conference Committee report on the retirement age of legislative officers of the National Assembly Bill 2024, HB 529. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House of Representatives passed different versions of the retirement age of legislative officers of the National Assembly Bill 2024. The Conference Committee of both houses have met and harmonized the differences in accordance with Senate Standing Order 86. Mr. President, with your permission, I move the motion for the Senate to consider the conference report. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ndume.
President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Alindumi. I guess the Senate President wants me to second the motion moved by the Senate leader, so I so second.
It's not what the Senate President wants. What do you want?
Anyway, okay. So I second the motion as moved, ably moved by the leader.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion to consider the harmonized age limit of staff of National Assembly has been moved by the leader and seconded by Senator Ndume. Those in support that we consider the harmonized age limit as moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. That. And then you also said nay. The ayes have it. Leader, we have a lot to do.
Mr. President, may I proceed to lay the report?
Lay and then.
Proceed. Yes.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, report of the Conference Committee on the Retirement Age of Legislative Officers of the National Assembly and for other related matters, 2024. Mr. President, the retirement age of legislative officers of the National Assembly and for other related matter 2024 was passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives with a difference. In consequence thereof, a conference committee was constituted in the Senate and in the House of Reps to reconcile the areas of difference. The mandate of the conference committee, therefore, was to harmonize the area of difference that was observed in the two versions. Paragraph 2 deals with the membership. Paragraph 3 deals with the membership of the Senate in the 2-1 in the Senate, 2-2 in the House of Reps. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the conference committee met and observed that the two bills as passed had substantially different provisions in all the clauses. The committee deliberated upon the area of difference and harmonized same. Accordingly, the committee resolved and recommended the adoption of the Senate version for approval. Our recommendation: the conference committee hereby recommends for adoption and approval of the harmonized version of the bill as follows: that the Senate and the House of Representatives do consider and approve the conference committee report on the retirement age of legislative officers of the National Assembly and for other related matters 2024. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of members of the conference committee, we wish to thank the National Assembly for the opportunity given to members of the committee to resolve areas of difference in the bill. Mr. President, I so submit.
Yes, any observation? Yes, Senator Numa.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this is a concurrent bill, and the tradition, just for explanation and clarity, is that once a bill is passed in the bicameral house, like the House of Rep, and ours has gotten to that stage too, the next thing is what we are doing now, or what the leader and his committee have done, is to harmonize the two. It doesn't provide for further debate, but once we agree and then we adopt the report, unfortunately in this case, the Senate version is the version that has been adopted. So I just want to make this contribution to guide the Senate appropriately. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, distinguished colleagues, let us look at the recommendation of the Harmonized Committee. So, on page 1, long title, Senate version adopted. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Application. Provision of this bill shall apply throughout the National Assembly service in Nigeria. Senate version adopted. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Retirement age for staff of National Assembly service. Senate version adopted. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Non-application of public service laws. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Interpretation clause in the bill. Senate version adopted. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. There is citation. The Senate version adopted. The bill may be cited as the Harmonized Retirement Age for Staff of National Assembly Service Bill 2024. Those in support of the Harmonized version on the citation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Senate version adopted. The bill seeks to make provision for the compulsory retirement age and years of service of staff of the National Assembly. The bill seeks to make provisions for the compulsory retirement age and years of service of legislative officers of the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me thank the Senate leader and all of those who both in the House of Reps and the Senate who sought to harmonize this bill. And then now invite the clerk of the Senate to read the bill for the last time. Okay, distinguished Deputy Senate President, distinguished colleagues. So, those in support of the adoption of this report say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the report is hereby adopted. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Student Loan Board Access to Higher Education Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024 SB 398. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 14th March 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Mohammed Danduse Muntari, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Danduse.
Thank you. Representing Katsina South, presentation and consideration of report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund, that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Student Loan Access to Higher Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024 SB 398. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, this is Senator.
President and dear colleagues, I'm Henry Siraki Dixon, Bayelsa West, and I rise to second that the Senate do receive and consider the reports from the Committee on Tertiary Education and Telephone. I so second.
The distinguished college, those in support that the Senate do receive this report, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So proceed to lay the report. Please present the report. DSP.
Thank you, Mr. President. My respected colleagues, the report of the Senate Joint Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TEDPON and House of Representative Committee on Students' Loans, Scholarship and Higher Education, Financing on the Student Loans, Access to Higher Education, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024, SB 398. The Senate at its plenary on Thursday, 14th March 2024, debated the general principles of the bill, student loans, access to higher education, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024, SB 398, which was sponsored by distinguished Senator Bamidele Opeyemi, Senate leader. After deliberation, the bill was read for the second time and repair sent to the Joint Committee of the Senate Tertiary Institution and TEDPON and House of Representative Committee on Student Loans, Scholarship and Higher Education Financing for further legislative action. Senate Order of Referral date 14th March 2024. I report back with it the recommendation. Objectives of the bill. The core objective of the bill is to provide a legislative framework to support the establishment of Nigerian Education Loan Fund with a view to oversee the general administration of the management and disbursement of the loan to beneficiaries. Specific objectives of the bill. The bill seeks to achieve the following: provide loan to qualified applicant to pay tuition fee, charges, and upkeep during their courses of study in approved tertiary.
Senator, can we go to recommendation? We have the report before us. Everybody has a report. They've perused through it. Just go to recommendation so we can move ahead. Recommendation. Just go to recommendation.
That the Senate do consider and pass the student loan, access to higher education, repeal and reenactment Bill 2024, SB 398, to ensure smooth access to higher education. In conclusion, I wish to use this opportunity to thank the President of the Senate and distinguished colleagues for the opportunity to serve in this capacity, and to humbly request the Senate to pass the bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Ndusi. And is there any comment, please? Yeah, no, if you can ask if anybody has any comment, then we can move ahead. Leader, no comments, so let's move on. Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move that the Senate resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
I second the motion that the Senate resolves into the Committee of the Whole to consider the report. I so second.
Those in favor that we resolve to the Committee of Whole to continue the process of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 1 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 2, 3, 4, and 5 stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses, okay.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I will urge that we spend some time carefully to go through it because of the impact that this bill will have. Clause subsection 3 of section 2, where exemptions to repayment are listed. Yes. Yes. Just wanted to be sure that what we agreed on is what is there. I withdraw my comments. No. What we agreed on is appropriately captured. Thank you. I just wanted us to be sure. Okay.
Clauses 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those in favor that they should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. (12, 13, 14, 15). Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Those clauses 21, 22, 23, 24. Those in favor that they should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Disqualification, that is 25. 25, 26, 27, 28. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 29, 30, 31. Those in favor that the above clauses should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Where did I stop? I stopped at where? Where did I stop? Okay, 30, 31, and 32. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 33, 34, 35. Those in favor that they should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 36, 37. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 38. Those in favor that it should stand part of the bill say aye. explanatory memorandum. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Long title. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
The President of the Senate, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund on the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses, clauses 1 to 36 as recommended. Interpretation, Clause 37 as recommended. Short title, Clause 38 as recommended. Schedules 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I stand to move that the bill be now read for the third.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion that the bill be read a third time. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the Senate Leader and seconded by Minority Leader, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act 2023 and enact the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act 2024 to establish the Nigerian Education Loan Fund as a body corporate to receive, manage, and invest funds to provide loans to Nigerians for higher education, vocational training, and skills acquisition, and for related matters 2024. Third reading.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, working with the supplementary order paper, may I request that we step down orders, both the third and fourth orders of the day regarding the supplemental bill, to enable the Secretariat finalize work on it while we go straight to the fifth order of the day, which is the second reading of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 379. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 6th March 2024. Mr. President, the sponsor of the bill is distinguished Senator Emmanuel Odende Menga, who is available to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time. Mr. President, please invite Senator Odende to move the motion. Thank you.
Senator Emmanuel Odende, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, my dear colleagues. Thank you for the honor and privilege of leading the debate on a bill for amendment of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. The first reading of the bill was done on the 6th day of March 2024. The Terrorism and Prevention Act is set for amendment in order to ensure compliance and in order to bring it to the expected compliance standard of the international bodies responsible for the fight against money laundering and terrorism financing, and also to ensure the delisting of Nigeria from the delisting from grey list of Nigeria by ICRG. The ICRG process refers to International Country Risk Guide process, a methodology used for evaluating the political, financial, and economic risks of countries worldwide. Since Nigeria was placed on a grey list, the ICRG was activated to evaluate the level of risk associated with investing in or lending to Nigeria. The Financial Action Task Force used ICRG ratings as part of their compliance and due diligence efforts. The ratings are critical to assessing Nigeria's risk level as part of compliance with international anti-money laundering, AML, and counter-financing of terrorism, CFT standards. Section 49, subsection 2 of the Principal Act is being redrafted as, where the Attorney General is satisfied that there is evidence or reasonable grounds to support recommendation made under subsection 1 of this section, the Attorney General shall designate the person, organization, or entity so recommended as a terrorist organization, terrorist entity, or terrorist financial, provided that the designation made by Attorney General under this section shall be conditional upon shall not be conditional upon the existence of criminal proceeding in relation to the person, entity to be designated. This drafting is being made to make it practicable for the domestic designation made by Nigerian Sanctions Committee to be disseminated and implemented within a period of 24 hours as required by Financial Action Task Force.
Also, a new subsection 8 is being added to the provision of section 49 as the designation of a person, group, or entity by Attorney General on the recommendation of Nigerian Sanctions Committee in accordance with United Nations Security Council Resolution 1373, 2001, and successor resolution shall A, have immediate application in Nigeria, B, continue in force until the revocation of designation or delisting of the person, group, or entity by Attorney General of the Federation. This reason is to give domestic designation immediate effect in Nigeria. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, it is on this ground that I urge you to expeditiously pass this bill for second reading. Thanks.
Senator Mongolo? You are right.
President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. This bill is res ipsa locutor. It speaks for itself, because what this bill essentially seeks to achieve is to bring the terrorism prevention and prohibition bill that was enacted by these chambers to be in consonance or in tandem with international best practice, especially against the backdrop of the fact that terrorism and terrorists are now evolving with the changing nature of technology. So there is a need for us to amend our laws to catch up with the evolving nature of terrorism act that is being committed by terrorists, and also the provision that will allow the Attorney General of the Federation to designate an entity, an individual, or an organization as a terrorist is also novel, in the sense that without such designation, it will be very difficult for international criminal fighting organizations like Interpol to accept an entity as a terrorist organization or a terrorist financial. So essentially, Mr. President, as I said earlier, this bill seeks to bring our terrorism prevention and prohibition bill in tandem with international best practice. And I urge my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill with speed of light. Thank you.
Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Henry Seriake Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President, let me commend the mover of this bill, the sponsor of this bill, who has made an eloquent case as to why this bill should be read for the second time. Ordinarily, Mr. President, and I'm sure all of us in this chamber and across our country even, are united on the need to strengthen the existing mechanisms for fighting terrorism and preventing terrorist financing. So we are united in that general objective. But Mr. President, I am constrained, even in spite of my general support for anything that will strengthen the fight against terrorism. I'm constrained to speak against this bill. You see, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts in like manner, absolutely. In this country, we have a fusion of two critical offices in one body. That is the office of the Honorable Attorney General. And by the grace of God, I was one, just like my good friend M.T. Mongono. We both served as Attorneys General at the subnational level. We, in spite of all the efforts we have made so far, we have not been able to achieve a separation of the office of Attorney General of the Federation and then the person who will be a chief law officer. The two offices are combined. And this bill now says any person that the Attorney General who in our system without that separation can also be a political operative, a member of cabinet, a member of a political party, and a political operative, all combined together. And what I'm saying this afternoon is we have not been able to achieve that desired separation. And the mechanisms we have are not sufficient to guarantee impartiality of judgment, in as much as we trust all of them. And the current Attorney General is a very professional person. I have no doubt about it. But we are not about persons. We are building institutions. Without reference to the national security institutions, without reference to the judiciary of our country, on its own, designates a person, an organization, as a terrorist organization. We must trust that any Attorney General of our country will do so painstakingly and in the best interest of our country. No doubt. But there is no mechanism to check and abuse. So I will support that power of the Attorney General, if this bill must be passed, must be subjected to a recommendation from the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Without anyone that wants to contribute, we'll give him 1 second. Senator Nkwambo, we'll give you 2 minutes so that we can round up the debate on this.
I also want to rise to Mr. President to commend the movers of this motion and to support any action that will be done to make Nigeria more transparent and more acceptable, especially in this period that we are today. One of the constraints, especially at the FATF, we had in those days during the Mutalab days, was that because of an act by one particular person, the whole country was designated a terrorist country risk area. If we have had this kind of provisions in our law, the Attorney General would have isolated that individual or the group he belongs to designate him, honorated the country for thereby being designated as a whole, and all the process that we went through. But also, the fear is, like it was said, if Section 8, the number of people, the Nigerian Sanctions Committee, I don't know how the composition of that committee is going to be.
Thank you. We have 1 minute so that we can...
We should be very careful in sanctioning, in approving the composition of the Nigerian Sanctions Committee, so that a lot of discretion will not be allowed to allow for that kind of person. Like is suggested, I also support that the Office of the National Security Advisor, either house that committee or lead the committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I think
without much ado, we should seek the votes of the Senate so that we can move to the second. Now, despite the objections that was raised by Senator Dixon, I think we should look at the merit of the bill properly. And as we move on into the next stage of the processing of the bill, we can have inputs from others and even from the public. And we have experts here, including the likes of Dixon and the rest. We'll look at it and see how that can be looked at, for the overall interest of the nation. That said, I now put to vote. Those in favor that this bill now be read second time, please say aye. Able to deal with these very, very serious menace on our country, will be able to have the necessary or the appropriate prosperity we are seeking to have in this country. Thank you. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the seventh order of the day is the second reading of a bill standing in my name on the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 378. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 14th March 2024. Mr. President, with your permission, I move, in moving that the bill be read a second time, Mr. President, I seek your permission to present the lead debate.
You may proceed.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my honor and privilege to lead the debate on the amendment of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2024. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the bill seeks to cure the deficiencies in the MLPPA 2022 to meet the Financial Action Task Force International Cooperation Review Group, known as the ICRG, requirements for the effective implementation of the AML-CFT measures. And distinguished colleagues, I also must add the fact that this, as well as the bill that we just finished considering for second reading, are bills coming from NFIU aimed at ensuring that Nigeria remains or complies with global best practice standard signed by other treaty nations. The bill was read the first time in the Senate on Thursday, 14th March 2024. The Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2024 remains an important legislation in the anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing regime in Nigeria. Hence, the need to update it to ensure operational and implementational integrity and meet the Financial Action Task Force standards cannot be overemphasized. The FATF continually identifies and reviews jurisdictions with strategic anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing deficiencies that present a risk to the international financial system and closely monitors their progress. The FATF's International Cooperation Review Group oversees the process. The main objectives of the bill are, amongst others, to grant the Nigerian Customs Service and other competent authorities the power to request and obtain further information upon discovering false declaration, cooperate with its foreign counterparts, and keep declaration information to facilitate international cooperation. Also, to grant competent authorities to restrain currency or bearers' negotiable instruments, to ascertain whether evidence of money laundering may be found, to mandate competent authorities to put safeguards to ensure proper use of declaration information, to extend the customer due diligence measures applicable to PEPs, meaning politically exposed persons, to their family members and close associates, to provide an upper threshold for reporting suspicious transactions and to expand the scope of matters that reporting entities can consider. This will ensure prompt reportage, to extend the protection accorded to FIs to situations where the crime is unknown, regardless of whether it actually occurred, and to prohibit tipping off by FIs and DNFBPs. And finally, to mandate competent authorities to maintain comprehensive, relevant AML/CFT statistics, establish guidelines and provide feedback to financial institutions and designated non-financial businesses and professions, to separate unrelated predicate offenses as specified by the FATF definition of predicate crime. I therefore urge my distinguished colleagues to support this bill for the second reading. I thank you.
This bill is very straightforward, but Senator, Johanna, you can say something for 1 minute so that we can move ahead to get it passed. Go ahead, so, through second reading.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I remain Amos Johanna, Adamawa North. I rise to support the second reading of this bill. Crime in general and money laundering in particular tend to be international in nature. And for us to fight it appropriately, we need to amend our laws, strengthen them, so that we can also be considered internationally as people who fight money laundering. And with that, I support very strongly, Mr. President, that we read this bill for the second time.
Thank you very much. As I said, it's a very straightforward bill, something to help to stop or bring the attitude of the crime of money laundering to the barest minimum in the country. Very straightforward. So those in favor that the bill be read the second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act, number 11 of 2011, to include Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the surveillance and prevention of money laundering in Nigeria, and for related matters, 2024, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act number 11 of 2011 to include Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the surveillance and prevention of money laundering in Nigeria, and for related matters, 2024 second reading. Thank you. Let me commend the leader of the Senate and all those that contribute to the debate. Yeah, I'll do that. First of all, the leader for sponsoring this bill, which is going to help to check the menace of money laundering, which is inimical to our economy. To help in actually checking that crime, and also thank those who contributed to the debate, or Senator Johanna, Reverend Johanna, who actually contributed, who seconded and also contributed. It's in this respect that the committee, the bill is referred to the Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crime to report back within 4 weeks. The Leader of the Senate. The Leader of Senate. You may wish to summarize those things because it's something that has been debated extensively. Summarize them and then we'll move forward.
Well, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of an executive bill standing in my name on the 2023 Appropriation Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 405. And I seek the indulgence of Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues to take the fourth order along with the fifth order of the day, which is the second reading, of an executive bill standing in my name on the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023, Reenactment Bill 2024, SB 406. And Mr. President, with your permission, I seek to read the lead debate.
The Leader, this matter has been debated severally. We are all aware of, is there anybody who is not aware of it? It's just the extension of the 2023 appropriation bill, the capital side, to June, end of June this year, and then the reenactment of the supplementary 2023 supplementary to begin from that start from January to end in June. Is there anybody that is not clear about it? Everybody clear? Can I have to put the vote? Okay, well, you have any?
Just before you put the vote, Senate President, we are doing this, all of us know what it is. We're just trying to beat time and adjust our timing. So we should do it appropriately. The leader should suspend all rules and then we take it and then pass it as it is. Everybody knows the content is not changing, we're not adding anything. But it should be on our record that we suspended the rule to take it straight away.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Please move for the suspension of the rule so that we can now move ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate do suspend its Rule 78 sub 1 in order to read the bill a second time. I so move, Mr. President.
The two bills, right? The two bills. So, Minority Leader.
Distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate to suspend its rule for this bill to be read a second time.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk. Leader, can you move for second reading of the bill, the two bills?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move for the second reading of the two bills. I so move, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader, please, can you second?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion assembly moved by the Senate leader. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to reenact the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend its implementation from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters 2024. Second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to reenact the 2023 Appropriation Act to further extend the time for implementation from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters. Second reading. Okay. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to extend the implementation period of the 2023 Appropriation Act from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters 2024. Second reading.
A bill for an act to reenact the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend its implementation from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters 2024 SB 406. Second reading taken. A bill for an act to amend the 2023 Appropriation Act to further extend the time for its implementation from 31st March 2024 to 30th June 2024 and for related matters 2024 SB 405 taken. The Senate leader.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, in compliance with the Senate Rule 80 of Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended, I now move that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of Supply for the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. I so move.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of Supply to consider the bill.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader of the Senate and seconded by the minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. For Bill 406, those in favor that clauses 1, 2, 3 stands part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. For Bill 405, those in favor that clauses 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The Leader of the Senate. The Senate. You are no longer in the House of Reps. You used to be in the House of Reps. You are now in the Senate. And the minority leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the Leader of the Senate and seconded by the minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Report. The Senate in the Committee of Supply considered a bill on act to extend the 2023 Appropriation Act, the time for the implementation from 31st March 2024 to 30th June 2024, and for related matters 2024, SB 405, and approval follows. Amendment of the 2020 Appropriation Act as recommended. Amendment of Section 12 as recommended. Short title as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole on Supply? The Senate, in the Committee of Supply, considered a bill for an act to reenact the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend its implementation from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024, and for related matters 2024, SB 406, and approve as follows. Amendment of the 2020 Appropriation Act as recommended. Amendment of Section 1 as recommended. Short title as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of Supply. The clerk.
It has to be invited. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk to read
The bill for the third time.
for the third time.
Majority Leader, thank you very much. Thank you for job well done. Majority Leader, you are doing well. Majority Leader, also doing well.
Mr. President, we wish to, I second the motion that we invite the clerk to read the bill for a third time.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to reenact the 2023 Appropriation Act to extend the time from implementation period. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the 2023 Appropriation Act to extend the implementation time from 1st January 2024 to 30 June 2024. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the 2023 Appropriation Act to extend the implementation period from 1st January 2024, 31st March 2024 to 30 June 2024, and for related matters 2024, SB 405, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to reenact the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024, and for related matters 2024, third reading.
An act to amend the 2023 Appropriation Act to further extend the time for implementation from 31st March 2024 to 30th June 2024, and for related matters 2024, SB 405, third reading taken and passed. An act to reenact the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to extend its implementation from 1st January 2024 to 30th June 2024, and for related matters 2024, SB 406, third reading taken and passed. Thank you very much, the leader, for bringing this forward, even though the request came from the president today. I think it's quite necessary to get these bills passed so that the capital component of the components of the 2023 Appropriation Act can be fully implemented, because there's no point passing a budget which is geared towards the development of our country. And the important aspect of it, which is the capital component, is left unimplemented. And this will give the chance for all those projects, those vital national projects that their implementations have so far started to get completed. Because if we don't do this, then it will give room for creating abandoned projects that will not be good for our country. So we thank Mr. President. This shows his commitment to bring in the needed infrastructure development to this country. We therefore urge all the MDAs and indeed all contractors to see this opportunity to fast track the implementation of various projects that are now that are now being implemented across this country. And also the other bill which will address the recurrent components of the Supplementary Appropriation Act that are needed to really deal or give funding to security agencies that need payments for their upkeep and other supplies that they need to operate very well. So I commend all senators that contributed, and indeed the entire Senate, for acting with dispatch to get these two bills passed. The leader of the Senate. Which is this also?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to crave your indulgence for us to step down the eighth order of the day, which is a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Educational Planning and Administration and other matters connected therewith. And I appreciate the understanding of the sponsor, distinguished Senator Sulaiman Umar Sadiq, representing Kwara North. I also apply to step down the ninth order for the day, which is a House concurrent bill brought in my name, and we then take the 10th order of the day as the last item on the order paper, which is a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for other matters connected therewith, 2024 SB 212, sponsored by distinguished Senator Moro Abba Patrick, representing Benue South. So, Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Moro Abba to move the motion.
let me at this juncture invite a former local government chairman, a former minister, a former non-ranking senator, a former ranking senator, and now the minority leader. Well, you say what? I didn't say it. You say former. well, okay. Some are saying former, but I don't. Well, let me not just say that here. Let me give him the respect as a minority leader. Otherwise, I would have joined you to say so. Our minority leader, respected minority leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I want to say that only comrades know who is the former comrade. Distinguished colleagues, I seek your kind leave to lead the debate on this very important bill for the establishment of the Federal College of Agricultural Technology of Pialu, Ojapo, in Benue State. The bill was read for the first time in this very revered chamber on Thursday, 26 October 2023. The bill was originally initiated in the 9th Senate Assembly by my humble self, while all legislative processes were concluded on it and it was transmitted to the presidency for assent, but could not get the needed assent before the passage of the Assembly. As it is the rule, the bill has passed with the 9th Senate and has to be reintroduced de novo. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill is a valorous stride towards not only addressing the educational needs of the people of Benue State and by extension Nigerians, but it will also serve as a training ground for the development of agriculturalists in the country. The primary intent of the bill is to establish a Federal College of Agricultural Technology of Pialu, Ojapo, to contribute to the development of Nigeria through training of qualitative manpower by adequate exposure to sound theoretical background, practical farm and field demonstration, as well as knowledge capacity development for staff. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is pertinent to mention that agriculture with its allied sectors is undeniably the biggest livelihood provider in Nigeria, especially in the rural areas, and contributes significantly to the country's gross domestic product, GDP. May I mention further, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that the demand for agricultural products is daily on the increase, with increase in population and per capita income and growing demand from industrial sectors. The Federal College of Agricultural Technology of Pialu, Ojapo, when established, will train and produce morally sound graduates to become self-employed in the area of science and agriculture, establish linkages and collaboration with other policymakers, research institutes, and training institutions, establish and manage modern standard livestock farms, veterinary clinics, and diagnostic laboratories, produce technicians capable of carrying out routine preventive measures and advisory services in livestock, fishery, crop production, promote capacity building through outreach programs, vocational training, continuous education, among others, in the area of science and agriculture, promote youth development and empowerment opportunities through entrepreneurial and agricultural activities. In compliance with Order 7733 of the Standing Rules of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with the procedure of bills, compendium and consolidation, which states inter alia that on the introduction of a bill, a compendium of background information and financial implication of such bills, if passed into law, shall be delivered to all senators. The said compendium for the establishment of this bill is attached hereto. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I humbly urge you to please support this very essential bill and pass it accordingly for second reading. I so submit, Mr. President.
Right. Oh, distinguished Senator Agadaga, you have the floor.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Chief Benson Sonda Gadaga is my name. I rise to support the bill, a bill presented by most distinguished Senator Abamoro for the establishment of Federal College of Technical Agricultural Technology in Benue State. I so second. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I think this bill is very straight to the point and very explanatory. And in fact, even the lead debate has clearly explained the reason for it, merits of the bill. I don't think there's any demerit in the bill. For that reason, I think we should move forward to get it passed. Please, I therefore put the question. Those in favor that this bill be read the second time, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for now to amend the Agricultural Research Council Act, Cap 812, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for other matters connected therewith 2024. Second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council Act, Cap A112, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and other matters connected therewith. 2024, second reading taken. Let me, and the bill now is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund and Agriculture. To report back within 4 weeks. So let me commend the minority leader for bringing forward this bill. I think it demonstrates his zeal to bring about an institution which will produce the necessary manpower that will drive the agricultural pursuit of his area, and indeed the entire North Central states. North Central Zone, because the zone is known for the fact that is one of the best producers of food in this country, one of the zones that produce food for us as a country. And I think once we have this school established, that will help to train those who will work on farms and other agricultural entities that will help to drive the process of bringing about food sufficiency to our citizenry. So I commend Senator Abamoro for bringing forward this bill, and also commend those who contributed in the debate. Thank you very much. Which one? Okay, I think the Committee on Agriculture Colleges and Institutions should also partake in processing this bill. The referral should also, they should be part of the, the committee that will have this referral extended to. And probably, and I think the Committee on Agriculture Colleges and Agricultural Colleges and Institutions should be the lead committee. Should be the lead committee. Not that I think it should lead the it should be the lead committee. Well, because we are going on the Ramadan recess from tomorrow, there's a need to have the votes and proceeding passed, particularly because of important bills that we have, the access to the student loans bill, the two appropriations bill. We need to have them passed in the votes and we need to have the votes and proceedings passed because we will not be around tomorrow. For that reason, we'll need to adjourn to come back here by 4:30. By 4:30, we should adjourn to get the votes and proceedings passed. So the Senate stands adjourned to 4:30 today.